So today we will be learning about fractions and we'll be recapping them. So there's not much to learn in this video, you can skip it, but if you want a summary of fractions that what we have done till now, I advise you to look at this video. So when we started with fractions, we learned that fractions are parts of a whole. There are types of fractions. So one way is proper and improper fractions. Proper and improper fractions. Proper fractions are fractions where the numerator is less than the denominator. So basically for that we need the concept of numerators and denominators. So that we already learned in the first video, so I advise you to look at that first. So because this is just a summary now. So now I have the numerator that is less than the denominator. In improper fractions, the numerator is greater than the denominator, and improper fractions can be converted to mixed fractions. So how we can do that, I advise you to look at that video. So now I have more types of fractions. So another way to do so is like fractions. Like fractions are those which have the same denominator, 1 upon 2, 2 upon 2 and 3 upon 2 probably. And unlike fractions will have different denominators, probably 1 upon 2, 2 by 3 and 3 by 4. And then there are equivalent and equal fractions. Equivalent fractions are those which are basically when the numerator and the denominator is multiplied or divided by the same number to get a different fraction. So those will be equivalent fractions to each other. So probably I have 1 upon 2 and I multiply both by 2, both the numerator and the denominator by 2, and I get 2 upon 4. This is an equivalent fraction to 1 upon 2. So 1 upon 2 and 2 upon 4 are equivalent fractions. 1 upon 2 and 2 upon 4 are equivalent fractions. So now I have equal fractions. So when I have 1 upon 2 and I'm multiplying or dividing both the numerators and the denominators by 1, I'll end up getting the same fraction. So this same fraction is an equal fraction. So these are not equivalent fractions, because equivalent fractions are supposed to have different numerators and denominators, and equal fractions are supposed to have same numerators and denominators. And obviously we have unit fractions. These fractions are 1 upon any denominator. So I can have 1 upon 2, 1 upon 3 and 1 upon 4. Any fractions, just the numerator needs to be 1. Then we learned how to perform the 4 fundamental operations with fractions. So the 4 fundamental operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So first we learned addition. So 1 upon 2 plus 2 upon 2 is 1 plus 2 upon 2, which is 3 upon 2. When there is 2 upon 2 minus 1 upon 2, this is subtraction. This will be 2 minus 1 upon 2, which is 1 upon 2. So the same rules apply. Just when the denominator is same, the same rules for addition and subtraction. Nothing new. But when these are not the same, like for example 1 upon 2 plus 2 upon 3, what I'll be doing over here is I'll take the LCM of 2 and 3 and I'll multiply both the numerators and denominators of each of the fractions by that number that gets the denominator to its LCM when multiplied. So I'll multiply by that and then I'll get the final fraction. So let me do that. So the LCM is 6. So I'll multiply 2 by 3 to get 6, and I'll multiply 3 by 2 to get 6. So same will be for the numerators. I'll do the same with the numerators and I'll get 3 upon 6 over here, and over here I'll get 4 upon 6. So now I'll simply add these two. 3 upon 6 plus 4 upon 6 will be 7 upon 6. And this is my final answer. And I can do the same with subtraction. I'll take out the LCM and I'll then simply at the end I'll just subtract. So there's nothing much over there. Now when we are multiplying or dividing fractions, things change a little. I have 1 upon 2 into 2 upon 4. What I'll do is I'll look diagonally and look for common factors. There's none between 1 and 4, but there is between 2 and 2. That is 2. So 2 ones are 2 and 2 ones are 2. So 1 upon 4. So this is my new, this is the product of these two. Now if I were to divide, I would simply take the reciprocal of this fraction. That means I will switch the numerators and the denominators, and then I will multiply. I won't divide because I've taken the reciprocal. So 2 ones are 2 and 2 2s are 4, and then I'll simply cancel out the 2's because that is 2 upon 2 is 1 upon 1, which is 1. Now that we've learned the 4 fundamental operations, let's quickly glance through converting fractions to decimals and vice versa. So when I have fractions, let's say I have 1 upon 2, I need to convert this to a decimal. What will I do? What I'll do is I'll try to bring the denominator to 100. So now I have 2 into 50 is 100, and I'll do the same with the 1. So I'll get 50. So it's not a hard and fast rule to convert it to 100, just that it's so it's easy to convert it to percentages, which we learn afterwards. I've converted it to 100, so that there's a common number in which we need to convert. Otherwise you could also have done this, what I'll tell you, this 50 upon 100, and then this can be this what we have is 5 upon 10. So I basically could have also done I could also have multiplied 1 and 2 by 5, because what I need to get in the denominator is 10 or any power of it. So 5 upon 10, this is 5 upon 10. So now this, so what you will do is that you have a 0, obviously, because it's a fraction, it's not more than 1. So 0.5. Why is that? Because after the decimal sign I have one number, because there's only 1 0 after 1 in the denominator, so there will be 5 over here. 5 will be brought like this. Okay, now if I had 3 upon 2, I'm just explaining this because this might be a question to many. So this will be, I'll multiply it by 5, it will be 15 upon 10. That is 15 upon 10. It's equal. So this will be converted to a mixed fraction first. So 15 divided by 10 is, the quotient will be 1, the remainder will be 5, and the denominator is 10. So 1, and then 1 plus 0.5, because this is 5 upon 10 over here. So 1 plus 0.5, which is 1.5. Now finally let's come to converting decimals to fractions. Let me take a different color for this, getting bored with orange. Okay, so now I have 0.1. I need to convert this to a fraction. What will I do? I'll see how many digits are there after the decimal point, and if there is one digit, I'll correspond it to the number of zeros after 1 in the denominator. So in the denominator there is 1 0 because there is just one digit after the decimal point. Now if I were to neglect the decimal point and write it otherwise, just simply, it would have been 1 0 1 to be precise, but that is 1. So this would have been 1 upon 10. Now if it was 9.99, this time there are 2 digits after the decimal point, so there will be 2 zeros after 1 in the denominator, and in the numerator I'll just simply neglect the decimal point and it will be 999 upon 100. And so we have finally recapped fractions and we have completed.